Yo, what up, my name is Derek, and in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to get better FPS and visibility in Fortnite Remix. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is the best windows. Now, you know I'm known for the custom ISO videos that I make, but I'm going to say this right now. The best windows that you can download is either the latest version of Windows 11 or Windows 11 24H2 server. You can even, if you want to, you can go Windows 10 as well. There is a Windows 10 21H2 LTSC that's also very good. The reason why server is better than regular Windows is because it is already debloated more than the regular version. Now, you can debloat it more after you download it and install the server. But in reality, the Windows server is always going to be less components and less debloated, or less bloated than regular Windows. So I would recommend a server version, or if you do want to go regular Windows as well, you can go Windows 11 latest version and then just debloat all your windows down to it, do performance tweaks, follow the guide. At the end of the video, I do have a software that you can actually use that will help you tweak everything in your windows. It's open source. You don't have to worry about whether or not there's a virus in it or something like that. Everything is open source. You can see all the code that's happening. It's a open source community made pretty much tweaking service. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is Nvidia Profile Inspector. In the description, you're going to see a download link to download this folder that I have here that's going to have a lot of Fortnite tweaks that I'm going to talk about in this video. And one of them is going to be the Nvidia Profile Inspector. What you want to do is you're going to want to download it, open that folder. And once you've opened the folder, you're going to get the Nvidia Profile Inspector. So what you're going to want to do is you want to double click this. This is going to open up this Nvidia Profile Inspector. Then what you want to do is make sure you're on the base profile, the default global driver, and then you want to go up here to import profiles. Then you want to find the Fortnite.nip. This is the file that is for Fortnite. It's going to help you with performance. It's going to, it's pretty much like setting the Nvidia control panel settings, but it has a lot more options in this. With Nvidia control panel, it's more basic. There's a couple settings there. But with this profile inspector, you can see there's a lot more in-depth settings and a lot more options you can change. So this one's kind of going to give you all of those custom settings there. So what you want to do is press on open. It's going to load it, as you can see there. If you get an error, don't worry, you'll just press OK and it should still apply most of the settings that you're able to apply. Most of the time when you get an error, it's because your Nvidia driver isn't updated fully, so it doesn't have all the features available. So if you don't have an updated Nvidia driver, which I recommend the latest version, use NV clean install to actually install it. Use DDU to actually uninstall your driver completely so that you can clean it, and then use NV clean install to then install the latest driver. That's what I recommend every time you update your drivers, okay? Once you're done with that, press apply. This will apply all of your settings to your Nvidia driver. I apply it a couple times just to make sure it's applied, and then you can close that and we are done with the Nvidia Profile Inspector. The next thing we're going to talk about is how to lower your ping or reduce your ping. So using a software called Exitlag right here will help reduce your ping. In terms of all of the softwares that are out there, there is a lot of softwares out there that reduce your ping or say they reduce your ping. And I'll say this, Exitlag is the best one out of all of them. I've tested a lot of other ones and I've used them. And one thing I've always noticed is there's packet loss, random packet loss. There's also some random spikes, or they don't get the lowest ping, or they don't actually reduce ping lower than what my ISP connection is to the server. So this one actually does reduce it down. Now, of course, for me, I have fiber, so it's not significantly better. But if you have cable, or you're using something like fixed wireless, or using some type of service that isn't a direct fiber connection, you're most likely not getting the best ping you possibly can. My personal recommendation, like I said, is Exitlag. To use this, it's pretty simple. You essentially want to go to your connections and you want to optimize a game. For me, if I click on Fortnite, this is what Fortnite's going to be. And so now what's going to happen is I want to connect to a server. So we're going to click on the server here, and you can choose. You can do automatic, which you can choose a region, or you can do manual. I like to use manual just to see what ping I get to the servers, see what's the lowest. You can see this would be the ping to the servers that I get using Exitlag. And so, or if I want to, like I said, do automatic, I can just use North America, and North America will be selected. And what it's going to do is it's going to route it, and you can see here that it's going from me to Chicago, and then it's going back to Chicago all the way to Ashburn. This is already choosing the server for the best performance, and then it shows you the estimated ping because of this. And then once you're done, you want to press on apply. You can also implement like more TCP and UDP routes if you want to. Personally, my recommendation is to just keep it default to what they set. They usually optimize it to what is the best. So if there's more TCP or UDP, they'll kind of be the ones to determine that factor. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Honestly, all you have to do is download it, make sure it runs in the background, and there you go. If you use my link in the description, you do get 3 days of free trial to use it and to test to see if it's working for you. If it's not, you just uninstall it, and there you don't even have to use it anymore. But if it is better, I recommend it because it does do it. For me, I just feel like it does improve it just enough. Even if it doesn't feel like the ping is lower, there's just something about it. I don't know if it's placebo or what, but there is definitely a difference in ping, and sometimes you can feel it. Now, the next section we're talking about is power plans. Now, there are a lot of power plans out there. Not every single one does different things here, but I have one that I'm going to show you guys right now. Now, these two right here, you see here, you're going to see idle disabled and idle enabled. Essentially, what this means is idle enabled means that your computer, your CPU will actually idle down to like a decent percentage. It'll only use what it needs to use. It won't be 100%. If you disable it, it's going to be 100%. Now, the reason why you'd want to do each one of them is if you want to have the best performance and you want lower latency and just overall better performance, then you can do disabled. The problem is you have a chance of a lower lifetime of your CPU, higher temperatures as well, because it's going to be running at 100%. So you're going to see higher temperatures all the time. So what I'd recommend you do is you check it yourself. Right? If you don't care about your temperatures, if you don't care about your CPU or whatever running hot or whatever, then go with disabled, idle disabled. If you want your computer to run cooler and not running 100% all the time, your CPU, then I'd recommend doing enabled. Like I said, you can test them out to see which one's better for you and see whether or not you like it. It's up to you, really. If you want, you could even just enable 100% when you're gaming, and then when you're not gaming, you can disable it if you want to. Now, some of the questions I know I'm going to get asked is like, how does it work? How is it 100%? Is it actually using 100%? Technically, it's not using 100% of your CPU. It's kind of just telling you that it's actually using 100% when it's really not using 100%. It's kind of hard to explain, but it kind of just runs 100% all the time in terms of like the sleep states and all that stuff. It's just 100%. There's no idle. It's always maxed out availability, the performance. Now, to import these, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to PowerShell on your computer, run it as administrator. Once you have it opened, okay, you're going to want to type in powercfg-import. And then right here, what you want to do is you're going to want to go to wherever you downloaded it, and then just right click and then just copy as path, okay? Then what you want to do is you want to paste this in. As soon as you press enter, it's going to tell you imported power scheme successfully. And now if we go to power plans, go to power options here, you can see here, this is how it would be added to your computer, okay? And you would just turn it on because it'd be down here under hidden. You would unhide it and you'd select it and it'd be turned on. The next tweak we're going to talk about is Win32 priority separation. Now, this one, in my opinion, is not talked about enough. It is talked about a lot, but a lot of the guys that do Fortnite tweaks and stuff like that, they don't talk about this one. My personal recommendation is to set it to 26. It's best for gaming. Now, I do have 2 more options here. There is a third one if you want to try a third one. So 16 is more for streaming. So if you stream, you might want to try out 16. And then 1A is kind of also just good for like gaming and doing other things too. You can also try 2A, which is also kind of good for gaming. I'll say this, test them, as there's a lot out there. There's probably, I think there's like 16 different types you can try. There's a lot of values you can try, but they all do different things. You can look up online. It really explains to you. But in a lot of people's testing, a lot of people's workspaces, they've noticed that you have to test it yourself into your personal computer and to see which one is best for you. Because if I say 26 is best for me, 16 might be the best for you. You have to test these. These ones for sure you need to test yourself. You can do a little benchmark, test each one of them, and see what happens. Now, to test these, you want to just double click this and it will set it to the value. So if it's 26, we just double click, press yes, and then boom, now it's set into your registry. If after you do that, you want to restart your computer and then you want to benchmark. And then if you want to test the other ones out, you just do 16, double click it, 1A, double click it, restart your computer after each time, and then test it out. The next thing we're going to talk about is timer resolution. Now, timer resolution is to set the timer resolution of your computer. Now, in the past, people use ISLC, which also purges your RAM. I don't recommend that software anymore. I think just doing timer resolution is better. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to set these three. These three right here are what you're gonna be using with this. So first things first, you kind of want to set your global resolution. So in settings, sometimes it's not set to this, but you want to set this to 1. So you want to enable that. Boom, there you go. Now you want to have this timer resolution. Now to set this, what you're going to want to do is you want to create a copy of this or create a shortcut for this. And then we have a code or a little command line we got to edit to this. So we go to properties. At the end, we want to paste in this. Now your value is going to be 5,000 right here. And what you're going to want to do in this is you're going to test this value here. So if we press apply, press OK, and double click it, it's going to open up. So now if we open up measure sleep, you're going to see this value here. Now you can see my value is all over the place. Don't look at my number, look at your number, because your number is better than mine. Mine's not very good right now because of I need to restart my computer. But essentially what happens is this value you're looking for, it needs to be as close to 1 as possible. Okay, so you can see these values are kind of like 1.07, 1.08, whatever. And what you want to do is you want to go into your properties of this one and keep monkeying with this value here. So you might want to check, you might need to change this to 70 or 5100 or whatever. You're kind of looking for this value to be as low as 1 point. Now the reason why I say 5,000 isn't as good as like 5,010 or 5,020 is because sometimes 5,000 exactly isn't that good. You need to go a little bit higher to get the lower numbers. It's very complicated. There's some testing that people have done that actually have seen that difference there. So that's kind of my recommendation. Now, to actually use this all the time, instead of having to double click it every time, you can actually control exit to cut picture or to cut the shortcut. Then you want to go to Windows key R on your keyboard. You're going to want to type in shell : startup right there. Press OK, and this folder will pop. This is your startup folder. This is the folder that opens up with your computer every time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to paste this in here. And that's pretty much it. So every time your computer starts, this will open up with your computer and it will set the timer resolution so that you have it all the time. The next thing we're going to talk about is stretched res. Now this is optional for you if you want to test it out, whether you like stretch res or not. I know some people have played with stretch res in the past and they've liked it and they want to go back to it, or they want better FPS, or they just like the feel of it and the way the game looks with stretch res. So I'm going to talk about how to use it. So you have two methods to do this. You either have the graphics method and you have the display method. Now, personally, the display method, not personally, but in general, the display method is the better option because it has lower latency. It's just better in general. And with graphics, the only good thing about the graphics one is that you don't have to set it all the time. Like each game is set by itself because of what you set in game, so it sets there. With display, you have to set it before you play the game usually for it to actually work. And I'll talk about that in a second. So with the graphics version, you want to go to your change resolution. You want to go to customize, enable the resolutions not exposed by display, click custom, press accept, and then inside of here, you're going to want to set a value. So for example, if you want 1728 by 1080, you can set it there. 1728 is the value if you want to set that there. You can test, 1440p if you want to try that one. If you want to do 1650 or you want to do some other values that you've seen, you can test it there. Make sure you set this to your refresh rate, and then you want to press on test. This will test it just to make sure it works. If you notice black bars, you have to monkey with your desktop size and position, so aspect ratio and full screen. I think full screen is what you want to use. You want to set this to the GPU right there if you're using the GPU scaling, okay? And sometimes you need to set the scaling mode for this too. Now, like I said, when you play your games, most likely it won't set right away. You have to actually go into your graphic settings and change your display ratio to what the value you want to set is, whatever you set. So if it's 1728, you need to change it to 1728 in your settings, and then there you go, you'll have stretch res. Now, when it comes to the display scaling, it's a little bit different. You need to download a program called CRU. This will be in this folder that I'm going to give you. And then inside of here, you're going to get these options. You want to press on CRU, run as administrator, and then you're going to see this. Make sure you go on your active monitor, and you're going to see these probably enabled over here. You can press on none if you don't want any. It doesn't really matter. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the detailed resolutions. This is what you're going to want to change so that you can see, so you can have stretch res. So what you're going to do is you're going to press on add, and then you're going to make sure you change this value here and then this value here. Now, these timings here, you kind of have to test this yourself. Sometimes it works with like exact, it sometimes works, sometimes it might not work. You might have to try exact reduced. What I'd personally recommend doing is doing exact, testing it, make sure it works. So if you set this to 144, you're going to see all of these values set to actual 144, because if you go manual, it probably won't go to 144 over here. It'll be like 149.6 or whatever. But yeah, then you want to change your active resolution to 1728 or whatever, and that will change, as you can see here. Once you do that, it's not going to do the flashing like the other one. You also want to make sure you change this like this. And if you do it like this, that means your native resolution will be 1728. So every game you play will be under 1728 by 1080. If you do it like this, it's not going to be, and you can still technically set it in your settings, but it doesn't work as well. I'll show you how we can set this up if you want to do it like this. Okay, you press OK after you have set this. I'm going to press cancel, and then you want to do restart 64. This will restart your graphics driver, and then once you have your graphics driver restarted, then you can see that it will change. Now, sometimes your graphic settings might change, or maybe your color settings might change in your Nvidia. What you can do is go back to that nip that we did earlier and reset that, and then also change your color settings back. Okay, so if we head into our settings here, go to, we type in display, and then we go to the advanced display. You want to click on your specific monitor that you're using, press on advanced, press on list all modes, and then inside of here you will see your custom resolution right here. So if you press on OK, what it's going to do is it's going to set that right away. Well, if you press OK and then apply, it's going to set that, and then that will be your native resolution all the time. Like I said, recommend most of the time what you're gonna have to do is set it before you open your game or when your game's opening. Otherwise, it won't work. You have to set it before your game opens, and then it'll be set. You can set up a shortcut in your desktop that will automatically change your resolution to that too. I'm not gonna show you how to do that. Look up online. It's very simple. There's a little simple script that essentially just changes your X and Y of your motherboard or your monitor, and it just changes it, and it works wonders. So you can change it back and forth very quickly. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is Fortnite potato graphics. Now, you've probably seen a couple videos about potato graphics on YouTube, and I'm going to show you guys 3 filters that you can set up that will differ based off of how you want it. So we have the lowest quality ones, we have a middle end one, and a little bit more high quality, but it's still potato settings. So what you're going to do is you want to go back to our Nvidia profile inspector that we downloaded earlier. You're going to double click it. Now, earlier we had the base profile. Now, if you set this with base profile, it's going to set with every single, or in every single game that you play, this is going to set. We don't want that. We just want Fortnite. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in Fortnite up here. We're going to press enter, and it should set to your Fortnite game. Okay. Then we're going to want to do, this is for the lowest setting that we have. We're going to want to go to transparency multi-sampling, or super sampling, sorry. And we're going to actually want to make sure this is set to replay mode all. Okay. Once we have that set, we're going to want to scroll down to the texture filtering. Okay. We want driver controlled LOD bias off. We're then going to set these 2 values here to a specific number. So we're going to do 0.00000025. So 6 zeros after the X. Then we can copy this and paste this into the next one so that these are both set at the same value. This, make sure this is set to clamp, and then this one we're going to actually change to high quality. Once we have that set, we are done, and we can press apply up in the top corner. Now you're going to see this value will change back. Don't worry, it's still set to that value. As you can see over here, it's still set to that 0.0, that 60 number over here. Now, if you want to revert the settings, all you got to do is just go back up here and press this setting up here, and this will revert your settings back to the normal driver that you have set in your Nvidia control panel. Okay. Now, if you want a little bit different values and different like middle end quality, and then also a little bit higher quality versions, what you can do is you just change these values here to different numbers. So if you want a little bit more middle end one, you can actually go to +3 for both of these. And this will change the settings to a little bit more better looking on your eyes. It won't be super potato. And make sure that you still have this set to high quality, and then make sure this the super sampling is still set to replay mode all. Okay, if you want a higher quality one, you can even try 1.5 over here. If you want to try that one, you can really test any number in this just to see how you like it, because these are really the only values we're changing is these. So you can change these values to whatever you really want if you want to keep testing it, but these three are the ones that everybody pretty much uses and they like. Okay, now something to keep in mind, if you are doing the potato settings, there's a couple of settings we need to enable with our game. Okay, the first thing is in Fortnite. In the Epic Games Launcher, we want to scroll down to Fortnite. We want to actually click on the options setting, and you're going to want to make sure that DirectX 12 shaders is enabled, because we need to use DirectX 12 instead of performance mode. If you use performance mode, your game isn't going to really work at all. If you have DirectX 12, your game will work like kind of like it's almost like on performance mode, but it's on DirectX 12. That's kind of the best way I can describe this. Is performance mode is DirectX 11, lowest quality. DirectX 12 with the potato settings is pretty much performance mode, but on DirectX 12. So once we are in game, what you're going to do is you're going to want to make sure that you have DirectX 12 selected. Okay, once you have that selected, you want to scroll down and you want to set your nanite virtualization or virtualized geometry on. This will help your like pixelation and a bunch of like cubes and stuff on the ground and the ground not actually loading in. And then also you want to pretty much turn everything else down if you don't already have it down. Put that off like that, and yeah, pretty much else off. Make sure you set this on and on plus boost if you want to use that as well. That is pretty much it for the in-game settings for Fortnite for the potato settings. Now, if you're someone that doesn't want to use the potato graphics, the best settings for your in-game would be to set this to performance mode, of course, and then pretty much to just set everything to the lowest possible quality besides your 3D resolution. And then maybe your view distance you might want to set to either far or medium or epic. Honestly, it's up to you. This won't see much of an impact at all. You can set that to that, and like I said, you have to restart also to set the performance mode as well. If you want to use the regular, like I said, potato graphics, you can stick with DirectX 12, but essentially all of these should be the lowest. And yeah, this is it for the in-game settings. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about in today's video is a tweaking program that I've used in the past that I think is really good for like the basic stuff, right? It's not the paid ones. I don't really, like I said, I have no idea what the paid ones are like. I have no idea. I've never paid for a performance optimization of any sorts. But I will say this program does kind of the basic stuff that you want it to do. It does debloating. It has a bunch of registry tweaks. It does, as you can see here, this is what it does. It's pretty simple, but it also does do really good things. It's also open source, which is good. So if you click on the bat folder on the GitHub page, you can pretty much see every single thing that is a part of this program. And like I said, there are a lot of things that Ancel has put into his program. He updates it too. This one was updated like in March, so it gets updated here and there. Even as a Discord that he's got a lot of stuff on as well, if you want to find some stuff on there. But yeah, my personal recommendation is to try this out. Now, if you're going to try this out, I'm not going to say that you should just do it like just whatever with your head cut off, just do it. I'm saying more go, if you're going to try it out, maybe do a couple of the settings, or maybe, you know, set up a system restore point just to make sure that when you test this out, it doesn't completely break your computer or do too much where you're not liking what actually was changed. So set a restore point before you even use this if you want to, or maybe before you do per thing. So if you do performance optimizations, do a system restore point, see if you like it, then do the next one, then the next one, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's just my personal recommendation on that. But anyways, all the links of everything will be in the description that you need to figure out or need to find out or download and everything. Okay, also, if you want to support me, there are things in the description. If you want to use my Fortnite creator code, you can use DEREK, Derek, in your item shop. I also have a website, DIRIKTV.com, DirectTV.com. Not the actual DirectTV.com. It's, you know, of course, my website. If you want to follow me at X, you can do that as well. I do also stream sometimes on Kick and YouTube. Of course, if you guys follow me on here, you can see that as well. But anyways, Hope you guys liked this video. Hope it helped you. If you have any questions, let me know in the description or in the comments. And peace out.